everyone, Joe Pavlik here with Muscleology TV, and we have a very special, dynamic guest on the show today. Her name is Victoria Buress, and no greater time to do this than in honor of International Women's Day, empowering women who are doing amazing things. And Victoria is certainly one of the most influential persons in South Florida, particularly in the ocean and surf community. And I'll tell you, this is definitely one woman that you can learn a lot from and be inspired from, because she's going to be making a world record attempt, a Guinness Book of World Record attempt at the end of June to become the first woman to paddleboard from Cuba to Key West. So this is pretty amazing. So Victoria, do we have you on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, kind of your athletic background and how you got started in stand-up paddleboarding?
Okay, great. Thanks for having me also, by the way. So my athletic background actually is in ball sports. I played pretty much every ball sport you could think of, but my main one was softball. Growing up, I played year-round, travel, all that good stuff. I didn't actually start getting involved in the water sport world until I was about 19. We as surfers back then were like, oh, stand-up paddleboarding is crazy. Get away from us, kind of thing. And basically, one day I just kind of caved in and decided, oh, okay, maybe I'll try the stand-up paddleboard thing. And I got on a board, and yeah, it was really fun. It took a lot of coordination. It was like a really good overall body workout. So yeah, I got into racing. I did my first race. I won, and when you get older, you're always looking for different ways to compete, and there's not as many options as when you're in school and all that. So it wound up being this awesome community, and there's a bunch of races going on, and it's like a great way to keep you in shape. So I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. What
would be your recommendation for anybody looking to get started? Probably to see you for a lesson first, huh?
Well, I mean, really, the board has a lot to do with it. So I suggest always going to rent a board from a local surf shop and just telling them you're a beginner, and basically you start off on like a little bit more longer and a little wider of a board that has more stability. That way you can get the balance part down. And then after you get that down, you're pretty much good to go, and you can cruise or you can crank hard. And the race boards are a little more narrow and a little more tippy.
So tell me a little bit about, I understand you're the director of the biggest race series now in South Florida, the RK Sunshine Stand-Up Paddleboard Series.
The Sunshine Sub-Series basically was started by my boyfriend, Rory Cam. He started it about, I would say, 8 years ago, and when I started dating him about 5 years ago, I kind of got involved with a lot of the organizational stuff, and the stand-up world started booming and everything, so it's basically taken off since then. It's a two-part series, so we hold 2 races in the summer, one in June and one in August. We do it on the beach, so it's an ocean race, which there isn't many of here in Florida. We have live music, and there's a kayak fishing tournament that goes on, and then we added it's kind of like a CrossFit, like a beach boot camp style competition that goes on by DFIT. They run that.
Okay.
So it's like a whole day event. It's really fun.
Quick question, what does it normally take, say, the winner of the 1 mile paddleboard? What's like the fastest somebody can go a mile on a paddleboard?
Well, that's the weird part about paddleboarding is there's so many variables that your speed is actually usually never the same unless you're in like a place that has no wind, no current, no nothing.
Sure.
Good average mile time, like 10.5 minutes. That's what makes stand-up paddling so interesting, because you're going against the current, you're going with the current. You're going against the wind, you're going with the wind. There's chop, there's your board style. Is it right for flat water? Is it right for the ocean? Is it 14-footer, 12.6? So there's so many different variables.
In terms of giving back, I know you helped start the Surfers for Autism, and you're heavily working with the Special Olympics team. Anything coming up with them this summer that you'd like to mention?
The Special Olympics, we start in May, and we practice with them once a week. We practice with them in the ocean because we love the ocean. Unless it's like really crazy conditions, we bring them out there. And at the end of the first year, like 9 of them won gold medals at the States. And they all stood up, so it was pretty cool.
Wow. So tell us about this Guinness Book of World Record attempt that you're going to be doing in late June.
All right. Yeah. Well, I guess I just really enjoy the aspect of ocean type of crossings, like navigational things. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try to do this. So I started planning for it last year.
Wow, and that total distance is what, around 90 miles, correct?
Anybody that's prone paddled it has only been 100 to 120 miles. So nobody's found the 90-mile line. I don't know if it's possible to land on that. We're going to try to find it. But I'm planning for 110, just in case.
So let me ask you, in the race in Hawaii, from Maui to Molokai, that was a 33-mile race. How long did it take you to do that?
Molokai to Oahu, yeah, it took me 6.5 hours. So they would just like hand me my water pack and I would switch it out. You have to have, for that one, you have to have a support boat out there. They don't let you go without one. So.
Wow.
And I was racing, so I didn't want to stop, you know?
Right.
During this crossing, I just want to finish strong. But I'm not racing, so I'm planning on, and obviously you're into all the nutrition stuff and everything. So that's going to be a huge factor in the success of this. Sure, I'm not going to want to stop. I'm going to make myself stop and eat. And when I say stop, I'm just going to sit on my board. I'm not getting off the board or anything.
Are you into heavy training right now, or when do you foresee your hardest training is going to be in preparation for this?
My hardest training is on its way in about a week or two. Probably April is probably going to be my hardest month. Our goal is to leave on June 26th, and I land on June 27th. So as long as all the weather is lined up good, that's when we're leaving.
And out of curiosity, during your heavy periods of training, how many hours per day are you out on the water paddleboarding?
Well, I have long days, which so far have only consisted of about 6 or 7 hours of paddling. Just kind of at a steady rate, practicing different things to eat and switching up my stroke and just, practicing certain things. And then as far as just regular training after work kind of thing, when I can jam it in, I usually will do like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Paddling is like a really slow speed sport, as you know. So I do 10 miles a couple times a week. And then every month or 5 to 6 weeks, I'll do I have a 30-mile plan or a 40-mile plan. I think the most I'm going to wind up doing is about 50, maybe 60 miles.
What's typically the sorest? Are your arms getting sore? Is it your core? Is it your legs? Is it just a full body obliteration? Or what's usually taking the most abuse?
You do use your lats a lot and your shoulders, but because I'm doing a little bit slower of paddling than what I'm used to, it's maybe foot aches or, stuff like that.
Interesting. And I think what's probably equally impressive is, a lot of people are probably thinking that you're just at the beach all day training, but you did mention that you have a full-time job. Tell us a little bit about that.
The last 7 years I've been in the Prevention Bureau, so I work on the road all day sitting in my car. During my lunch hour, I'll either do yoga or weight train at a CrossFit gym. I just added the yoga part because, it's just you're in that one position for a long time. I started getting really, really stiff.
Definitely will be getting you your nutritional ammunition from Muscleology Sports Nutrition, which will include Super 8, which is our electrolyte branched chain amino acid anti-catabolic drink that would be probably optimal for you to be sipping on throughout the course of your training and even during the event. And then, of course, to help offset that muscle soreness from such prolonged activity, we're going to get you some Nitro Up, which is our all-naturally sweetened whey protein formula. And then to support digestive health, we have a product called Myofiber, which is an all-in-one digestive health formula. And a number of other products as well, depending on what you like. We've got stimulant-free fat-burning formulas such as L-carnitine, both in powdered and liquid form. We have, some energizers such as Incinerator, which helps to boost metabolism and give you more energy. So we certainly want to help sponsor you and, support what you're doing, not just to empower women, but also to motivate others such as myself and for everything that you're doing within the community. Is there a website that you have right now that somebody can go if they want to donate, look up information, or for any type of sponsorship inquiry?
Okay, so the name of the crossing, I named it Chica Libre. It's Spanish for free girl.
Okay, Victoria, well, you have a great weekend. Keep training hard, and congratulations, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, have a great evening. Okay, everybody, we are back with the questions and answers for the week, and I have to tell you, we got a little bit more questions than usual just based on the absolute insanity of what Victoria is trying to do from paddleboarding, stand-up paddleboarding from Cuba to Key West. So, first question is, kind of a different question. What is the difference when you're training in salt water? Anybody that's training on the ocean, it's going to be a different type of training. I mean, you're dealing with a number of the elements. You're dealing with sun, so probably you need to take the precautionary measures of using sunblock, and then of course staying properly hydrated. Which I think Victoria's been training for 6 to 8 hours a day some days, so I know that she's taking her hydration very seriously. Next question: what are the risks of shark attacks? That's a good question. Now, I am not an expert on sharks. However, I have done my fair share of watching Shark Week on the Discovery Channel, and from that I can tell you this much. Because I'm an ocean swimmer, okay? I like to go out and swim in the ocean, and people are always telling me you're going to get bit by a shark. From what I've been told, and I'm going to have to double check my facts, so this may not be accurate, but I hear that you have a better chance at getting hit by a car than you have getting attacked by a shark. Now, I could be wrong. But having lived down here in South Florida for over 10 years, I can tell you that during the peak seasons, they do have helicopters all over the place that are out looking for sharks, and they typically will give warnings if there's too many sharks in an area. I mean, if you're afraid of a shark, then you know what? Stay out of the ocean. That's all I can tell you. How do you mentally and physically prepare for an event that takes several days? And that's a good question, because in case you missed the earlier part of this broadcast, Victoria Burgess is going to be traveling from Cuba to Key West on a stand-up paddleboard, and this voyage may take longer than 5 days. So when you prepare for any type of an ultra endurance event, it's a lot mentally just knowing that you might be out there for 5 to 7 days. And then of course, because you're doing such repetitive motion, with the rowing and the standing, biomechanics become a very important part. Imagine if all of a sudden you have a rotator cuff problem, you got a sore wrist, your back starts going out. I mean, you're going to basically get shut down immediately. Even if you're going 5 days paddleboarding or 5 days walking, running, or hiking, you have to be biomechanically efficient at what you're doing. What other types of precautions would be taken for her journey? She is going to be allowed a gear boat, or it's like an additional boat, like a life support boat, to give her food, saltwater packets, Super 8, which is the hydration drink, liquid L-carnitine. I would strongly recommend on the journey, because this way you're at least efficiently burning fat throughout the process. And then also little things like sunblock, for instance. When you're out there in the Florida Keys in the end of June, that's some of the most potent sun you'll ever see. So she could probably be a lobster, no pun intended, after a couple days of being out in that sun. So sunblock, hydration, Super 8. And so that's it for the questions this week. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, Muscleology Sports Nutrition, where your performance is our passion.